We do be live, I think. Yes, it looks like it. Killer. Alright. Hello everyone and welcome to, I think it's the third to last round of the Race Spec F1 2020 Go Workplace Training Pacific Series. Here for Tier 2 action at Suzuka, Japan. Real classic circuit. Quite tricky and technical, but personally I absolutely love this track. Real historic circuit. But always a good challenge for the drivers. Very, very tricky to navigate, particularly if you've got some questionable weather at play. But it's always good to be here. I am Bodhod, and I'll be walking you through the race once again, as I've done for most of the season. I'm just going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys tackle what is quite a tricky little circuit. We might jump aboard with Server, who's one of the first guys out, just to do a hot lap. I do like to jump on board with someone just to see how the track is going. We do have a relatively full grid actually, which is really nice to see. 18 drivers, a couple of reserves in there. I think most notably Ned, Hug My Dog, been a while since we've seen him in the Race Spec circles. Very, very quick driver, probably going to be competing in the top 5 in his tier. Bag Little's back once again after a cracking result last week in Spain, I think it was, or it might have been Mexico, I don't remember. But here for a hot lap on board with Server. Turn 1, 2, 3, tricky to get the car in. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this whole S section, really, really tricky, particularly for those who race on the controller as opposed to on the wheel. Really important to get the line bang on. You can't use too much of any of the curbs, otherwise it will almost at risk of sending the car out a long, long way to an uncoverable place. Now through the two Degners, really tricky. You can almost take the first one flat if you get the line absolutely bang on. A lot of the time you can't quite. Second one, a bit of a tricky braking zone. Now into this hairpin, which is a potential overtaking zone if you get a good run out of the Degners. It's important here to get the traction down as soon as you can, which can be difficult. Now through this long, long right hander before one of the more iconic corners on the track, the spoon curve, double apex left-hander. Want to hit this as hard as you can. Cannot afford to run wide or get on too much of that green stuff. And it's all about getting on the power as soon as you can out of here. Leading on to what is the longest straight on the track and probably going to be one of our more active places for overtaking. Sector 2 split just there, and then 130R. I'm not quite sure if it's still 130 degrees. Might be a little bit more than that, but heavy braking into the chicane. The final chicane, probably another overtaking slot as Server does cut that, which is going to cost him his lap time. Around the final corner, not over the bump, which has caused many a heartache for many a driver in the past. And that's a lap Suzuka. One kind of key factor about this place is it's the only figure of 8 circuit on the calendar. The bridge at the end of sector 1/end of sector 2 intersection there makes this place quite unique. Has got a couple of guys now finishing their first laps. The first of which is Bags Little in the Red Bull. A fair few guys, or pretty much everyone except one, is on the soft tyre. Honest Crook, fairly common late qualifying setter on medium tyres, is the only one currently on those medium tyres. Looks like people are going to soft. It is a pretty comfortable one-stop strategy around here. Quite easy to make the soft medium work. The soft hard is possibly viable as well if you have poor tyre wear or early kind of circumstances forcing you to pit. But the one stop is definitely going to be the way to go because of that tyre wear or lack thereof. Now the Stone Tower's been coming and going a fair bit, so let's hope he gets back in and stays in, because that's going to compromise him. It's not the easiest place to overtake. A lot of one-line corners, so you can't really afford to get stuck behind too much traffic, particularly if you want to be fighting in the top 10. So let's hope he gets back in. And you've got a couple of guys coming out of pits now. I think F1 Hawk's just starting a lap, so we might ride on board with him, our championship leader as of now. I think he's just about got it wrapped up. Actually, I'm not sure if he can do it now. I might actually go find those standings just to get the facts out rather than taking a guess. So bear with me for a moment to see if I can find these standings. It's got a few yellows around the place on the track actually, so hopefully people are behaving themselves relatively. Now, standings. Tier 2. We've got yellows on the track actually, so that's no good. Hopefully it's just people getting out of the way. Alright, so standings. They have been updated, which is good, from Spain. So currently F1 Hawk does lead us by 33 points. So with 2 races to go after this one, if he leaves here with a margin of 52, then he will win, because he would win provisionally if it was tied. As he has more race wins, he's got 6 race wins out of 12 so far, this being race 13. So he needs a gap of 52 points over Scotty. So he needs to gain 18 points in today to secure the championship, which is doable, although we know how quick Scotty is. So that's a maybe, we'll keep an eye on that one. In terms of constructors, Haas are 40 points ahead just about of McLaren at the moment, so they're not quite close enough to wrap it up. F1 Hawk does go quickest on his first lap for now, so good start to the session. Constructors, Renault is another 40 points behind McLaren. Then another 60 back to Ferrari. So the constructors aren't too close, although still up for grabs. But the drivers is interesting. F1 Hawk, Scotty, Macedonian, Edmund and Benarcate Pie make up the top 5. They're all split up by 80 points though, so some fairly big gaps in there. But you never know, with so many quick guys in this tier. There's a lot of guys who can genuinely compete for podiums. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out after the race. We're going to have to check in with that as we go. In terms of other stuff, I know the Stone Tail is coming and going a fair bit, which is not ideal, but he does have a quali ban for accumulation of license points, so he's not allowed to qualify anyway. So he'll be starting at the back, as per the rules of accumulating penalty points. I think he had an incident with someone last week, tipping her over the edge. But I mean, first he needs to stay in the session for more than 10 seconds, so we'll see if he can do that. But anyway, let's move on. We might jump aboard with Edmund here. I know he's cooling down. Is anyone on the hot lap? Will's cooling down. Banana is cooling down. No, Banana looks like he's on a hot lap. He's pushing. So we might ride on board here with Monaco Pie in the Renault. As Ned's actually on the quickest lap now, on 1:26.3, which is 4 tenths ahead of F1 Hawk, which is no small margin. So good lap there for Ned. I believe last season in Tier 3, I think he might have gotten on the podium. From memory, I don't quite remember, but I know Ned is very quick nonetheless. But yeah, currently sitting on top with a 4-tenth gap, which is pretty good at the moment. Pretty close after that, there are a lot of close times on the board, which I sort of like to see. Medium length track, 1 minute 30-ish lap time, so yeah, any gap is going to be important. Any improvement you can find throughout the session is going to gain you positions. Banana's currently down his best time, so I'm not sure if he's really pushing. He might just be pushing back to the pits. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, he's in the ERS0, so it will be pits for Banana. No, it's not. Yeah, I'm not too sure what Banana's doing. Maybe he's just getting some practice in. Although I know he doesn't generally like the word practice. So that's a bit of a mystery. He might jump aboard his teammate who... No, it says he's on a lap, but looks like he's not. His kick butt's retired, and he's put that in the wall actually in sector 1. Much on board the rock here, so you can see his car on the left hand side. So he's probably hit that curb on the inside, and he's in the wall there, you can see. So the S section claims its first victim in the form of Kickbutt Kiwi, who we'd expect to see in the top 5. So there you go. I mean, that kind of shows you how tricky the section is. Really easy to hook yourself onto those curbs. You need to use some of it, but you can't afford to use too much from it all. As well as Basler was on another lap, he's 2 tenths up in his best already, so already found time, a lot of time in sector 1, particularly if you've got your setup with a bit more downforce. Really tricky to set up for this track actually, because you need a lot of downforce for a couple of really important sections of the track. Speed, you need the car rotating really nicely, and then that whole S section, sector 1, you really need as much downforce as you can, particularly on the front, to get the car turned in, to keep the speed. However, there are a fair few straight lines which you also need to be mindful of. You don't want to be too much of a chunky boy in the corners, because you need to be able to defend down a straight. But Bags Little now 4 tenths up his time, so this is going to put him P2 currently, and if you can find another tenth or so in this third sector, it might even put him up ahead of Ned. So we're going to have to see what he can do across the line. Looks fairly tidy. Takes the shortest possible route, and it's 26.5, so 3 tenths improvement up to P2 for Bags Little in the Red Bull. So solid effort there from him. Now Scotty in the Haas has just started the lap as well, so for people on their second runs, you can squeeze 3 runs in here, which is nice. So yeah, it's nice to have a bit of time to do a couple of runs. We had a couple of tricky tracks for that recently, a couple of longer tracks. But with the strategy being so comfortable in terms of soft medium, you don't really have to worry about saving tyres for the race and then saving the qualifying run. So it's good. It's a good track in that sense. But Scotty a bit wide there. Lucky to not invalidate that. Actually, looked like he had 2 wheels over the white line, but using as much track as he possibly can in the Haas. Teammate currently a couple of positions back. Those two are pretty close together generally, but Scotty's half a second up, which is going to put him right up with Ned at the moment. As long as he keeps this nice and tidy through sector 2 and 3. That looked alright, and it is going to be the quickest time, 26.296, just ahead of Ned. So Scotty currently has the high ground in this qualifying session, which is good to see for him. So well done to Scotty. He is now the man to beat. Might jump on board with Blocky. No, he's on an out lap. We might tune back into him because he's missed a couple of races recently. Has Blocky Rex. So we'll see what he can do on his relative return to the tier and championship. Speaking of, 2 rounds left, Monaco and Brazil. So 2 fairly tricky tracks. 3 tricky ones to end the season if you count Japan. So real challenge for the drivers. A couple of real driver circuits in there. Japan is definitely a driver's circuit, so important to consolidate qualifying sessions, which is why a qualifying ban like the Stone Tower is really important in terms of the championship, because there are 3 tracks that are not easy to overtake on. Yeah, qualifying is going to be mighty important. To get yourself up the front, you're in a really good shout of scoring solid points. Will's going to cross the line for P11 to 27.4, which isn't a bad time. He might have been hoping for a little bit higher, but if he stays around there, he can chuck on those mediums to the alternate strap, which could prove quite beneficial. I know the softs around here last kind of between 11 and 15 laps. You take mediums to the end after that, probably. If you can chuck on those mediums though and stick relatively with the soft runs, you can have a lot of pace for the last stint, particularly with the lighter car as you drain the fuel throughout the race. So P11 might not be the worst place to start, but I think with a track that's so one-stop friendly, you'd much rather be higher up. So it's going to be interesting. A couple of comments. Nice to see some comments in the YouTube stream. Hello everyone, welcome to this stream. Banana is using the first setup he found on Google. That is a very banana thing to do. Yeah, so we'll see how that treats him. Currently sitting 16th, which is not good, so looks like Google does not know everything. Maybe should have nicked Hawk or Scotty or Ned's setup. Hawk is now currently sitting P1 with 26.1, so getting very close to 25s. Adi Chang's picking Honest Cook to do a last to first. I mean, he tries it pretty much every week. He's not really going to be last though. He's currently sitting P7, which is actually a pretty impressive performance for him, leading his championship contending teammate in Edmund, as Will is cutting the track to get to the pit lane, which is illegal. So might make note of that. But yeah, Kickbutt as my other bolter. Well, Kickbutt we know has plenty of pace, crashed out in qualifying, so he's stuck down the back a little bit, so he's going to have to charge through a little bit. Got a couple of F1 Hawk fanboys in the chat. I mean, why wouldn't you be? Man, he's cracked on the sticks. On the wheel, I don't know if he uses the pad or a wheel. So, but anyway, he's pretty cracked. I'm probably going to get the call up to Tier 1 next season So not a bad bandwagon to jump on, I don't think. Banana for the win. I mean, with this Google setup sitting in P16, that looks unlikely. But you never know. Anything really can happen. So yeah, plenty of questions to be asked. As people are now coming out onto track for their final hot laps. Cookie's in. No, is anyone on the lap? Server's not. Banana might be the only one on a lap. So right aboard the man himself. Currently 6/10 up on his best time. So I guess that Google setup is doing him some wonders. As Scotty has retired, so he's not going to have time to do another lap. So P2 it is maximum for Scotty. A couple of guys around him now coming out of the pit lane to try and beat that. So we'll see what he can do. F1 Hawk is probably going to be done as well. So 26.1 is going to be the time to beat for pole. We'll see if we can get close. I reckon a couple of guys can get close, but not sure if they're going to beat him. Banana through Spoon looks relatively nice. Boffy's going to start at the back. So he might do a last to first or a last to question mark, depending on how he's feeling in terms of pace around here. But Banana is nearly a second up in his best time, just going to pop him around about the top 7-ish. If you can hang on to the time through here. That looks fairly tidy. A little bit loose on the exit though, which is going to lose him a bit of time. Round arm to corner into P9, so not too bad. Maybe would have been hoping for a little bit higher, but it's what it is sometimes. As Reaper looks like he's on a lap. I'm going to try and catch some of these guys as they cross the line. Want to try and get as many guys on stream as we possibly can. We are not real F1. We do not just look at 3 people for the entire race. Want to capture as much as we can. F1 Hawk on a pack, so he's cracked on the sticks. Alright, good for him. I wish I was cracked on the sticks, although I don't use sticks anymore, so... Yeah, anyway, to qualifying, we don't want to hear about me, we want to hear about these drivers. Reaper coming through the second sector split now. Across the split line is 1,000th up on his best time, which is going to get him 0 positions at the moment. However, might consolidate his P6 if he does improve by a tiny bit. Looks like the flag is now dropped, or just about dropped. Reaper across the line improves by 2.5 tenths, which is good enough to, I don't know, consolidate his P6, but not going to be good enough to gain another position as the flag has now dropped. So F1 Hawk currently pole. Can anyone challenge him? Ned might be the best one too, but he is off the track and he's done. So I guess Bags Little might be the next one too. A couple of guys coming across in front of him though, so I might try and catch a few of them. I think Depp is just about there. Yeah, Deputy Doodog in the other McLaren. Important for him to get a couple of results. I think he missed last week, so for the Constructors fight, it might be important to see if he can get himself up towards the 10, and he can. P8, that knocks Edmund out of the 10, which he may not be too disappointed at, honestly. He hasn't validated his laps. He's getting a free choice of tyres. The Rock looks like he is pushing, so the Rock might improve from his P12. We know he's got some good pace when he I don't know, it's quite consistent, I think is the way to put the Rock. When he's quick, he's very quick, but when he's not quite on, he does tumble a little bit. But we'll see what he can do in his final qualifying lap. 6.5 tenths up on his best, which is currently going to put him around about that P6-7 mark. So if he can get himself in there, he's going to put himself with a good chance of a decent fight in the race. Around the final corner, hugs the inside, and it is going to be P7 for the Rock, so very solid. That bumps Banana down. And with free choice of tyre, that might not be the worst thing. I think Bags is going to be the last one to cross the line. He's 2.5 tenths up, which is not going to be enough for pole, but it might be enough for a top 3. No, he's bailed on his lap, 24 seconds down. So that'll do us for qualifying. I think F1 Hawk will take pole from McLaren ahead of Scotty. So the main 2 championship protagonists will line up in the front row together. Bags has actually got some front wing damage there, so he's hit a wall somewhere, which is not advisable. One set a fast lap. Ned in P3, filling in is a good showing. Yes, maybe P5 behind the Red Bull of Bags Little. Macedonian P6. Fairly consistent season for him, so another consistent result gives him a good fighting chance for a podium. We know he's pretty clean in terms of the penalties as well, so not a bad position for Macedonian. The Rock P7, Reaper 8th, Deputy Dildog 9th, and Crookie does start in the top 10. Which is not a common sight considering he generally just leaves his quality to the end. But he will have to start on those soft tyres. Banana will be 11th but get free choice of tyres, which is a good thing. So he's going to slap on some yellow mediums and pray that he doesn't get bumped into turn 1 or bump anyone. You never really know. I think with this midfield or any midfield, it's very, very tight for the first couple of corners, really tricky to really drive alongside. So risk of damage is always high, so it's going to be kind of paramount for the likes of Banana, Edmond, Kick Butt, guys you expect to see in the top 10 to get through cleanly. Will takes P14 ahead of Kavudi. Says he's on an out lap. He's going to be last one across ahead of Server. The Stone Tower's been jumping in and out of the session. Did have a quali ban anyway, so starting at the back with Blocky Rex. So they're going to be going last to whatever. Not too sure what's going on here. Kavudi is still in control. Is he still in control of the car? The flag has dropped and our timer is stuck at 0-0 or 0-1. I can't quite tell if it's him controlling the car or whether it's AI. It still looks like... No, that's going to be AI controlled, yeah. So I'm not sure what's going on here, maybe just a little bit of a glitch. Just looking at those braking patterns. The brakes don't usually toggle like that when shifting down gears, unless you're actually using a clutch. Which, I mean, if you're using a clutch on an F1 game, then... I mean, you can't even be called crap because they don't actually use it. You can't be called a sweat because they don't actually use it. Has anyone actually ever tried to play F1 with a clutch and a proper shifter kit? I hope not. But yeah, not sure what's going on here. Maybe just a bit of a timing glitch for us. So hopefully we get through the race cleanly enough. Otherwise, everyone will get free choice of tyres, or at least fresh tyres. So we'll see what happens. Actually, my symbol of Kavudi. I want to see what happens when we cross the line. That you have established it's an AI controlling that car. And still going. Yeah, so this is some sort of glitch. So let's hope it doesn't break the lobby. I think we might be starting the lobby again. If Banana leaves, then that will be the way to go. Migrating host looks like he's leaving, so we're going to have a little bit of a delay while we set up a new lobby, which is okay. So chance to get some solid or some beverage into you, I guess. But yeah, everyone's now kind of leaving the session, which is nothing to worry about if you are in the session or have been kicked from the session. We will start a new lobby and you will get invites for it, so probably be 2 minutes, 3 minutes before we get the lobby back up. So yeah, I mean, I could sing a song for you. We could just wait patiently. Yeah, but qualifying, you see the order there. F1 Hawk takes poles, he will start pole. This grid will stay the same. Scotty, Ned, Bags, S, Nui, Mastonian, The Rock, Reaper, and I think it was Depp and Honest in the top 10. So they will still have to start on softs, as per the F1 rule. But they will be fresh now with the new lobby, so not so much of a detriment, which is probably a good thing for them. But yeah, they're still going to have to start on soft, so I think the penalty for starting on the wrong tyre inside the top 10 on the restart is a DSQ, so they're going to have to make sure that they do start on those soft tyres, and also have to make sure that they actually put their setup on, because it can be quite easy to forget that in the heat of making a new lobby and getting started into the race. So we'll see if anyone decides. There's always one or two who forget to do a setup or something like that. I've been guilty of it before. I'm sure everyone just about has, so important for people to be paying attention. But we might wonder if we're going to get an invite for another lobby. No invite yet, so the lobby is still being made. I will let you know when we do change over, because we probably will get a blue screen for 15 or 20 seconds for that. Yeah, so just bear with us. Yeah, just waiting for invites. Hopefully the stream does stay live, so we don't have to start another one. As we still have a few guys in here, I think F1 Hawk's actually driving that car. I'm not too sure. Alright, we do have an invite for the new lobby, so bear with us, we will blue screen for probably 30 or so seconds while we load into that. Alright, we are in the lobby, so we'll just wait patiently while Bernard gets the settings all up and running and stuff, and everyone gets in. Does anyone want to do anything for a couple of minutes? Maybe we can play some elevator music over the stream. Does anyone want to hear a fanfare? Or maybe we should be a bit cheeky and take a car and have a drive ourselves. That would be funny. People, so we're getting there. New Fanatec DD. Looks interesting. The only downside is it's not available on PlayStation. I believe it's a PC wheel with minimal ability to be used on Xbox, perhaps. I assume you're talking about that little box one, which looks a bit weird. It is a PC wheel, which is, I think, somewhat compatible on Xbox from what I read, but not on PlayStation. I do believe Fanatec are hoping to get something similar out for the PS5. I'm not sure what the timeline is on that, but I think at some point they're wanting to do that, and possibly an Xbox exclusive version as well. But I know the little one they just released a couple weeks or month or two ago is PC only. PS5 compact version, yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of. So I don't think it's going to be as flashy. I think that's coming at some point soon. But yeah, interesting, kind of a budget direct drive, which is kind of a first in PlayStation or console sim racing, I guess. Most of them are either just your entry level sort of standard wheels or kind of your top end entry level wheels. But yeah, a cheap direct drive is pretty nice. It sounds cool. So possibly something to invest in if you're after something pretty nice, without like the budget of kind of multiple $1,000s on a podium or something like that. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye out on if you are looking at either getting a wheel or upgrading your wheel. I know a lot of people start on like a G29 or a Thrustmaster, which is very nice wheels. I know they're very reliable and a lot of fun. But yeah, the potential upgrade for the new Fanatec DD looks pretty spicy, so definitely keep an eye on that if you're interested in upgrading your wheel without spending too much. I mean, it's still going to cost a little bit, but not as much as say your podium and other add-ons and whatever. So yeah, good to bring up. Definitely something to keep an eye out on. Maybe when it's your birthday. I'm not sure when anyone's birthdays are. You treat yourself to it, but yeah, not sure when the actual release is, or when they're actually planning on building something PlayStation exclusive or at least PlayStation compatible. So I'm just gonna have to sit tight on that one. But yeah, definitely news to keep an ear on. So yeah, good stuff. 17 drivers, so I think we're still waiting for one. I'm not sure who it is. I think we had 18 in the last session. Is Prezzo in? No. So I wonder if he's given up because of his net, or if he's still trying to get in, because I think we did have 18 last session, or maybe 19. I don't remember if RD Change was at the start or not. So it looks like we're just about ready to go. Settings look okay, so it'll be a custom grid. Top 10 will start on softs. I'm pretty sure they were qualified on softs from memory at the start of the stream. So we shouldn't be any trickery in there as long as these guys remember to put their setups back on. We should be able to go. Just making sure everything looks alright. Maybe we can do some Race Spec plugs while we wait. Go suss them on this, the socials. I think Instagram. I'm not sure if they're on Facebook. Definitely YouTube. Go suss out all the good stuff there. I believe 2 rounds to go, so now's when championships start to get nice and spicy. So if you are going to tune into any championships, I know Tier 1 runs now as well as Tier 4. Tier 3 runs at, I think it's an hour and a half before this one does. So a couple of championships heating up in those. Make sure you check those out. As well as checking out the Go Workplace Training lads. I think they provide some pretty solid training which you can take into work. Looks good in the CV, so go suss them out. In terms of the other leagues in Race Spec, the Sunday stuff's still heating up. They follow the same calendar as us, so they've got 3 races to go on this Sunday, so they'll finish slightly after Pacifics. Euros and Americas as well running, as some GT Sports stuff, which runs on a Saturday. So if you do like GT Sport and go suss out that, I think you can message a couple of guys in the Race Spec server. I think Chris is running that, Christoferic, one of the Euro drivers. So if you're interested in GT Sports, suss that out on a Saturday as well. I think they do post-race streams, so we do the race and then someone commentates on it afterwards. So I think some of them on the YouTube channel. But yeah, plenty of good stuff happening in Race Spec. In terms of the next season, I'm not exactly sure what's happening. I know a lot of leagues are ending around about this time. Most having run a long season or 2 short seasons on this game. So I'm not sure if Race Spec is going to run another small season. I think the game's release is meant to be mid to late July, so that's still, what, 2 and a bit months away. So we might have like a 10-round season or something before that. But I don't have any solid news on that for you. So yeah, just have to keep an eye out on the socials for that. If I hear anything, I'll definitely let you guys know the last couple of races. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what's going to happen next season. Some of these guys get promotions. I think some of the Tier 3 guys will jump into this tier as well. So it's going to be some spicy stuff coming up in upcoming seasons. I think we're just about ready to go. Just making sure everyone's in. Looks like Prezzo's not coming back, probably due to net issues. Apparently he's playing GDA offline, so that's annoying. I know his net's been pretty shaky recently, and his server missing as well. Looks like server's missing, so I'm not sure what's happening with him, whether he's coming back or not. But we'll have 17 seconds, 17 drivers, sorry, in this race. But I think we're ready to go, so time to get excited again after a little bit of a delay. Who wants to be LC, league coordinator? I thought you volunteered for that, Banana, so does that mean Server has left the tier potentially for the last couple of races? Not too sure. But yeah, I mean, Banana, you've always wanted powered, haven't you? So national chance, I guess. But yeah, ready to go. So make sure these guys pop their setups on and choose their tyres correctly to be at risk of to not be at risk of having a garbage race. I mean, one of the last things you want to do is drive Japan with that setup, I think, because it will A, be incredibly slow, and B, absolutely shred your tyres. I know the fastest way to get around here, or get around most tracks in this game, without killing your tyres, is to put the pressures right down. I think default setup runs them pretty high, so definitely don't want to do that. But yeah, we'll see whether anyone decides to be a forgetful little chap and suffer for 27 laps. It is a fairly long sounding race, but the laps go by relatively quickly. Hopefully we don't have any safety cars. Weather looks nice. I think it was set to light cloud, so no risk of rain, which is good. Not good if you're on a crook. Man seems to love rain, and rain does spice things up a lot of the time. However, it often does also spread the field out a fair bit. So I mean, a rain patch is nice as a spectator, but you wouldn't want a full wet race. So none of that to worry about for this session, though, by the looks of things. As looks like we're just about ready to go. So we'll see what tyres the bottom half of the field decide to start on. Remember, the top 10 will get fresh tyres now, not slightly used tyres, which is a big plus for them. That's potentially 2 or 3 laps of tyre life back in their pocket. As we don't have sound. Yeah, that's better. Alright, let's get some of this data back up. Tyre. Alright, so interesting. So Banana, as expected, Edmund, Kickbutt, Will starting on the mediums. Confuti's popped some softs on, so he's going to be hoping to make up some quick positions at the start, although we've mentioned a couple of times during qualifying it's tricky to do because the track is quite narrow and fast. It is actually quite a high speed track in general, only a couple of slow points. The hairpin in sector 2 and then this last chicane between the straights. So tricky place to make moves without a really good run. Speaking of making moves, blocking RD Chains will struggle too. They are starting on hards at the back, so they're going to try and grid it out. Maybe not quite sure if the one-stop soft medium is going to quite be viable. But those two cannot afford to get damage at all costs, otherwise you're two-stopping after that. I don't think mediums are quite going to be able to get the whole distance. They might do 20-21 laps, but I'm not sure if they'll get 26 if you get lap 1 damage. So important for blocking RD Chains to have a clean start. They're probably going to be ultra non-aggressive and just try and stick on the back of some of those medium runners. So we'll see what the play is there. We'll try and track their progress as they progress throughout the race. An early safety car could jump them up a bunch in terms of track position. A late safety car could help them maintain track position from not pitting when everyone else did. So potential risk. But if you start at the back, you may as well try something, I think, as it is that difficult to make moves. So good on them for doing it. There's a bit of congestion happening at the back here, not quite sure what's going on. A lot of cars very close together. They all just love each other very much, I think. Why wouldn't you? But yeah, coming around the final couple of corners now on the formation lap. Let us know who you reckon is going to take out the big points. F1 Hawk, Scotty, two main championship protagonists. F1 Hawk, if he wins or gets a good haul of points, I think it was 15 I said. 15 points, no it's not 15, it is, he needs 52 points to secure the championship. So he needs 19 more points than Scotty to wrap it up. So if he does that, he is the champion. Scotty's going to have to win and hope that F1 Hawk doesn't have the best of races to keep the championship alive in Monaco next week. As we're getting some shocking camera angles off the start. Jeez, what on earth is that? What benefit is this camera angle to anything that we have to do? I mean, it might be cool if you were analysing the front brakes. And we've missed the start of the race because I'm having to ramble about cameras. This sucks. Anyway, we're underway. F1 Hawk gets a really nice start. Actually, he's well and truly clear into turn one. We see how the midfield treats themselves. We know how tight it can be in theirs. They've got a couple of guys losing positions. I think Edmund's run a bit wider. That's someone in the wall. That's, oh, is that Macedonian? It is. Macedonian's off in the gravel. And he's come back to track. I feel like that, I don't know if it's a reset to track or whether he's just managed to find himself back to track very quickly, but that's costly for him, right down in second to last place now. Blocky's back there as well, and we've got more yellows, and who's that for? That's for Dudog. Dudog's gone around in this first sector as well, and he's got damage, I think. No, he doesn't have major damage, so that's lucky for him. But up the front, it is F1 Hawk from Scotty from Bags Little, who has managed to jump ahead of Ned. S Nui holds P5 ahead of Rock. Grim Reaper 7th. Honest Crook makes up a couple of spots. Will and Kickbutt gets some spots as well. Bernard's still P11. He's gained some spots in some people, but lost some to others. So Bernard's sitting nice and tight there. Edmund P12. Blocky's up a few positions to P13 on the hards. Macedonian with trouble at the start. Kavudi also looked like he had a pretty sloppy start after all of that. Artie Cheng's on hard, 16th in depth, right at the back on softs after that last mistake at the start. Reaper's all in the back of the Rock here though. Might have a look down the inside. Late in the brakes. Rock's even later on the brakes and he's almost hit S Nui. Had to really slam on the brakes to stop that, and unfortunately it's compromised his run enough for the Rock. Now for Reaper to get through as F1 Hawk is ghosting out of the session. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Apparently DRS isn't enabled, but I'm sure this is lap 2, not lap 3, so nice broken lobby things. So hopefully that sorts itself out. I know there's sometimes a bit of a glitch where someone appears a lap up or a lap down, so hopefully that sorts itself out. I remember we had a glitch last week where you couldn't see Scotty for the entire race. He kind of was driving around by himself on one half of the track, but he was actually at the front. We couldn't see anything. That was either last week or the week before. That wasn't fun, so let's hope the lobby sorts itself out again. Up and down the field, looks like Reaper's managed to get a bit of a gap ahead of... Jeez, the spectator menu's broken. Trying to get to Reaper and it keeps showing me F1 Hawk for some reason. Oh, gotta love this. I was going to say Reaper ahead with a bit of a gap now of Honest Crook, who looks like he's understeering a fair bit. I'm not sure if that's just damage or not. Ned's already got a penalty, so that's going to hurt him down the end. Sorry, Banana's just lost a couple of positions, I think, there as well. So he's gone onto the gravel somewhere. I'm just trying to sort this out. These things aren't quite working as they should. Blocky's all at the back. Cootie's all at the back of Blocky here for P14, but not really able to make a move there. So F1 Hawk still ahead of Scotty, ahead of Bags Little. As Kaviri's got a really nice run out of there. He's going to get by Blocky, I think, down the straight. On the soft tyre, still got a lot more grip than those mediums will have. So pretty simple move there for Kaviri to P14. Now got Banana Pie ahead of him. A bit of a train behind Kickbutt, who's lost a bit of ground to Will. So a couple of little trains forming already. These guys P5 to 7, already a second and a half sort of away from each other. S Nui's just losing touch of the top 4, who are threatening to run away at this point. So S Nui needs a good second sector here to stay within DRS and not let those guys run away. There is only one DRS zone on the track and it's quite short, which also doesn't help overtaking opportunities. You can't really take DRS down the back straight after Spoon, because on 130 I'd just be far too dangerous, I think, with DRS through there and then entry speed as well. because there's no braking zone. No DRS tends to prefer having a braking zone at the end of it, because you can get issues with it clicking off otherwise, I think. But I think SNUI's done a good enough job. You know, it's Grim Reaper actually who's lost a lot of time in that sector, so SNUI I think has done enough to stay with this top group. But the train is falling behind, Reaper behind. Crookie Rock will kick butt behind. So yeah, that's been the start of the race. A bit everywhere, but I mean, we're still going, so that's good. Another mini train falling behind Kickbutt Kiwi. I wonder if he's got a bit of minor damage, so I'm not sure why it'd be falling behind Will by so much. It looks like the Rock is going to try and make a move at Crookie here though in turn 1. Stop giving me front brake shots. And Crookie's got a bit wide there, but he's managing to defend the position, and the Rock is going to have to settle. And meanwhile, the other Ferrari is having troubles there, and Edmund's off the track into turn 1. That's big for the championship, because he is fighting in the top 5, I think. So that's going to be a bit of a points drop if he can't recover, but that's not good for him. He was fighting around about this pack here, so I'm not sure if it was contact or just running wide, but Edmund now falls back to last. Which is not good for him, as his spectator main's been really annoying today. I'm not sure why. Bags Little's all at the back of Scotty here. Ned's not quite close enough to threaten Ned, but that penalty is going to hurt a bit later. But Bags Little looking forwards now towards Scotty. He's still got F1 Hawk and Touch, but not close enough to really threaten. So it looks like he's happy to just sit behind for now, but Bags Little might be looking racy soon. I'm just going to check this championship. Yeah, so Edmund was sitting 4th. He had an 8-point buffer over Banana, as we've got more yellows, and that is for the Rock, who I was about to say was also putting some pressure on the car in front, but now no longer. He's now fallen to last place. So a lot of errors early on. The Rock now has fallen a long way down the field to last. So that's costly for him. I think he was fighting for kind of that P6 area there. I think he was chasing down Reaper before that, so that's big there for the Rock, just about to compliment him. He's let me down, so that's no good thing. I think he was just chasing down Honest Crook, who was chasing down Reaper, so not good there for the Rock. As we've got another yellow, and this one's from Macedonian on the inside of 2, so a lot of trouble for a lot of drivers early on. That's kind of just showing you the difficulty of this track, I guess. A lot of guys just making errors or getting involved with other people, so I mean, that's already kind of 5 or 6 separate instances in the first 4 laps in the sector. So, yeah, spicy start. No one, yeah, who's going to be next? I guess that's the big question. But yeah, not looking comfortable. A lot of these guys. I wonder if it's down to setup, or if it's just heavy fuel and pushing around a tough track. But yeah, no good at all. Plenty of guys struggling. I mean, it's fun viewing for me, but I'm sure they're not going to be appreciating their own mistakes too much. So, oh well. Anyway, fight the front. Scotland's close to F1 Hawk, but not close enough to make a move. So, these guys all looking really quick. Top 5 all still within a train of their own. 5 different teams, which is nice to see. As I think Bags Little got the best run out of the last chicane there, and he might have a thing at Scotty here. I'm not sure if he's going to quite have the momentum. Scotty with DRS and using a bit of that overtake looks of things is going to hang on. Straight not quite long enough to really drain the battery, so tricky to make a move even with DRS, especially if the guy in front of you has DRS as well. So yeah, not able to make a move. I think Will's just snuck around the outside of Crookie. That's a difficult place to make a move around the outside, and he's done it though. So well done to Will on the medium tyres, which look like they've turned on quite nicely. So the medium's looking good, making some moves there. So Cookie drops to P8 on the softs now. He's got a bit of a margin back to Kickbutt Kiwi to 3.5 seconds. So Kickbutt's struggling. I'm not sure why. I wonder if it's setup related. Banana's caught back up to him again. Really sitting behind as Blocky is. I think he must have made a mistake there because he's just lost out to Macedonian on the map. So not great there for Blocky. He's had a couple of little adventures to start this race already. But top 5 pulling each other away from Reaper. That gap's already 4.5 seconds from Nui in P5 to Reaper in P6. So they're just pulling each other along, using the pace of the guy in front, using that DRS to just gap. So top 5 looking very, very comfortable at the moment. No pressure from behind. Reaper's in a bit of no man's land. He's got 3 seconds back to Will. So Reaper's sitting in a nice little spot in P6, not under pressure. from anyone at the moment. Will's got Crook. We saw that move into turn 1 last lap, so Crook is still sitting close to there. I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough to have a ping though. He might jump aboard quickly. No, Will's definitely clear enough. Banana might have a ping here at Kickbutt though. So Kickbutt's really struggling, not sure why. As Ned's DNF from the session in the first sector, and that's massive. He was in that lead pack, and he's on the inside there. He's hit the wall, and that's brought out a VSC. That is massive in terms of the race there. A 5-car pack at the front is now 4. And I'm not sure what's happened there. I don't think anyone was close enough to make contact. Possibly just running a bit wide on the exit there, but that is massively costly for Ned. I know he's just filling in, but he would have absolutely loved a strong result up there. We know how pacey he is generally, so that's massive there, but disappointing. Front pack now down to 4. Everyone behind gains an extra position, which I'm sure they'll appreciate, but that's the shame for Ned. He was looking real racy there, well and truly in this fight for the lead. But yeah, that's a shame. Got to move on, I guess, now. So first DNF of the evening. Don't count present on the server who did qualifying but not the race. So first actual DNF of the race. We're back on the green flags again, so we can continue on as per normal. But yeah, not good to lose drivers so early on. Now this little pack behind Kickbutt's grown to a couple of cars. Kavudi and Depp are right here as well. And Kavudi is catching Banana, who's catching Kickbutt. And Banana's going to try to go around the outside of 130R. Tricky to do it, but they've left each other enough racing room. No, they're having Kickbutt's on the wall, and that's a big crash, and that's another DNF there. Kickbutt in the wall on the left-hand side, front wing, and bits of Williams flying everywhere, and that has brought out a full safety car. And that's worked out perfectly. Kavudi, Depp, and Macedonian, who are right at the pit entry, old and sauce. Macedonian has sped in the pit lane, which is going to cost him 5 seconds. Edmonds picked up a drive-through for speeding on the safety car. But we saw that there, they just left each other enough room, and then not quite sure what happened. If Kickbutt Kiwi opened up the steering slightly, or Banana Cake Pie just moved left slightly, but big contact putting Kickbutt straight into the wall, nothing he could do after that. The top 4 are now going to get caught again by Reaper. With that safety car, they're all going to come back in, but they're probably going to pit, I think, at this point, so that might put Will back in the lead. I'm not sure what Will's going to do, if he's going to pop hards on. Same with Banana Cake Pie. Blocky and Artie are already on hard, so they're going to gain positions. Kavudi is going to be the leader on hard tyres of those who have pit. Rockwood's on medium, so he thinks he can take them to the end. This has thrown a lot of strategy, kind of plans, I guess, sort of out of the way, because you would have expected the softs to run a bit longer, having been fresh after resetting the lobby after quali. So interesting. Good thing for this front group though is the rest of the field is going to be on the Delta. While they haven't caught the safety car, so they're not going to lose too much time or track position, which is lucky for them, but they're going to want to go as soon as they possibly can, so they don't want to get stuck behind the traffic. They know that they are the quickest guys in the tier, proved that in the first stint, and surely they're all coming in. Yeah, they are. So top 4 in. I wonder if Reaper follows. Reaper does follow Will. What does Will do on mediums? He follows as well, so Will's going to put hards on, surely. Cookie is also going to come in, and Banana is going to come in, so that's going to put Blocky, surely he stays out, Blocky stays out, it's going to put Blocky in the lead. Artie's going to be P2. Kavudi is, I'm not sure if Kavudi's going to jump the guys in the pit lane, who are already exiting. So F1 Hawk is exiting now. F1 Hawk's put mediums on, as has Scotty. Bags Little has put hards on, and Bags Little has jumped Scotty in the pit lane as well, so possibly just a bit of tough luck on the traffic there, but Bags Little now into effective P2. Scotty into effective P3, but with medium tyres. Nui 4th, Rip 5th, Will Crook 6th and 7th. Kavudi ends up slotting in back into P10 behind Crookie. So Macedonian's going to pit again, and we saw him get that 5 seconds, so he's going to pop the mediums on and go to the end. So probably a smart thing to serve that now. Edmund had a drive through speed, so he can't serve that till the yellows go away, which is a shame for him. His race has gone from bad to worse. But up the front, Blocky and Artie Chang, mentioning at the start of the race, if they get an early safety car, they're going to jump a lot of track position. And if they get a late safety car, they might manage to maintain it while everyone else has to pit around him. So Blocking I changed to a nice track position, but you expect F1 Hawk on medium tyres to be really quick on the restart. Back a little in P4 on hard. Scotty will also be quick on the restart. But looks like most of the field decided to go hard tyres. Not confident the mediums get to the end. So yeah, interesting to see a couple of different things. Just checking the chat. Yeah, just trying to figure out what happened to keep up with Banana there, because Banana's move was very nice around the outside, and I'm not really sure what caused the contact. It looked pretty small, but the cars reacted really amazingly. Sort of, keep up went absolutely flying into the wall, so I think he's been a little bit stiffed. Banana said he didn't really feel anything, but he got a warning for contact, so looks like they did hit each other, but nothing you can do about it now. I think the pass is fair. Did notice then I already changed his drove off the track in the safety car, so that's probably going to be a warning for him, which is the last thing you want to do, pick up warnings on the safety car. It's absolutely stupid warnings considering you're not driving fast. The safety car will come in this lap. The whole pack is now on the back of the train, so it will be Blocky who will lead us away. I'm curious to see the likes of Scotty and F1 Hawk probably make some moves and get up into the lead. Possibly the same with the Rock and Macedonia at the back. Not quite to the lead, but making up positions. Because the mediums, it's not going to be the easiest thing to go to the end. I think it'll be doable if they look after them relatively. I think if F1 Hawk and Scotty get to the front, so like first and second with the clear air, they should be able to streak away plus maintain a bit of life around the tyres. But if they can't get by these hard runners, they're going to be losing not just a lot of time, but also a lot of tyre wear, particularly the fronts with the understeer from the dirty air following the car in front. It is just a game, but the dirty air is still a thing. As Kavudi's dropped it on the safety car. He's dropped to last place. This race has had everything in it already, and it's only been 10 laps. So Kavudi now last. But yeah, I think the likes of F1 Hawk and Scotty can clear these hard runners as soon as possible and get clear air. They will be fine for the end of the race. The likes of Bags, Little, S, Nui, Repo are going to have to hang on as much as they can for when the mediums do drop off and the hards do become better, which will probably happen in the last kind of 5-6 laps. Looks like Scotty's gone. F1 Hawk's got a penalty for cutting the corner. Again on the safety car, so that's no good for him. That's going to hurt him towards the end of the race, but Blocky gets a nice restart away. It looks like everyone's gotten away fairly clean. No one's really on the back of anyone up the front. I think Will's been the closest, but not enough space to make a move, and he's driven off the track and picked himself off a penalty as well. At the back, Macedonian's getting a bit close on Edmund, but again not able to make a move. So they are as they were at the restart. Reeves had a poor restart. He's already dropped a second and a half, 2 seconds almost to S Nui, so the top car's already streaking away. Oh, and he's dropped it. Oh, and he's just gotten out of the way of people. Don't reverse on the track. No, that's scary. But luckily ghosting is on. But Reaper, unfortunately, now at the back, he looked like he was really struggling on that restart. Maybe not getting those tyres warm enough. Well, they'll definitely be warm enough now, and most likely too hot. So now Will's the one with the gap in front, and a couple of, I'm not sure if that's leaderboard things or not, but Rock and Dildog are now side by side, and Dildog has to slightly back out of that one there to avoid a little bit of contact. So the Rock manages to stay P10 on the medium tyres. Macedonian in 12th will be hunting these guys down as well pretty soon. But up the front, Blocky has managed to pull away a little bit from Mighty Cheng, who's under pressure from F1 Hawk. He might try and make a move in the chicane here. Will he go late in the brakes? He'll have the grip on the mediums, but not quite the run So he might try and get the exit out of here and get a move down the straight. He's got a really nice run out here. Artie Cheng doesn't have much to defend with. Bags isn't close enough for a move, and F1 Hawk should make this move pretty comfortably. Bags will sitting behind, will right on board, so he'll have the best view of this pass. F1 Hawk down the inside into P2. Really important move there to clear Artie Cheng on the old hard tyres. So they're not going to have much pace compared to the fresh hard tyres of Bags and the fresh medium tyres of F1 Hawk and Scotty. Scotty didn't get the best run out of turn 1, we saw looking back there, but he's got the tyre grip to make up for it now. Esnu is still sitting right behind, and plenty of action happening in the middle there. There's a big pack happening here, jeez. There's cars everywhere, just on the mini-map, just an absolute cluster of colourful dots. The Banana and the Rock try and saw each other out the depth right behind, and Macedonian's there as well, so the Rock on medium tyres looks like he wants to get a move on. But plenty of things happening up and down the field. Master on board here with Scotty though, who's right in the back of Bags, a little on the back of Artie, so these guys are getting pretty close. Bags doing a decent job on the hard still to keep Scotty behind, and Ness nearly still hanging on, so haven't quite got the tyres to fire up yet as Artie's a bit wide to spoon. Bags going to sneak down the inside, not a real common overtaking zone, and he's going to get it done. A little bit of contact there, but he's gotten through. Has Bags a little. I think Scotty's going to get a big run here now with Artie Cheng's trying to slot him behind. And this could be pretty spicy coming into here as Artie Cheng's going to go to the outside of the braking zone. What's Scotty going to do? He's going to have to sit behind him, but Bags has to defend. There's wheel contact, more wheel contact. Artie Cheng gets caught up. Scotty gets caught up as well, and hopefully that's not damage to Scotty, but he's got to go down the inside of Cheng's. And Cheng's going to lose 2 spots and possibly even 3 because there's Newey's right here as well. We're going to be 2 wide, 2 rows back. And Scotty, can he get around the outside of turn 1? No, Bags has gone deep. He's gone hot, and Scotty's gone for an over and under. A bit more contact on the front to rear, but Scotty is through, making up a couple of positions there. Bags little stays P4 effectively, but Artie Cheng's drops the most. As probably expected on those old hard tyres, and put up as much of a fight as he could. But some really exciting stuff here on lap 13. S. Newey now in the back of Bags Littles, and Scotty's now got a gap ahead. While all that happened, F1 Hawk did manage to get past Blocky Rex to P1, so F1 Hawk now with clear air. Scotty with relative clear air as well, so he should be able to push, but whether he'll be able to drop Bags and S. Newey, I'm not sure, because they've shown some good pace at the start of this race as well. Now, how's this cluster behind them faring? Not as chaotic as it was, but still not ideal. So the Ferrari around Edmund is doing some donuts in the first sector split. And is that damage? It is damage. So Edmund's going to have to pit again. So he's having an absolute shock of a race at the moment. The Rock's right in the back of Banana here on the medium tyres with a bit more front end grip at the moment. He should be able to get a run through here. Banana might not fight him too hard. He's going to make the Rock go around the outside. The move be done before on 30R, I think. A bit of wheel contact. Oh, that's a bit sketch. The Rock goes wide. Banana gets back again, and oh, there's contact. There's Macedonian storms through, and the Rock is spinning off the track. Gee, that was aggressive there from Macedonian. That's going to drop the Rock back a fair bit, and Banana's lost out as well. The depth's right there too. Deputy Doodle is going to get into 10th place as Banana Cake Pie has to settle for 11th again, but that was a bit of a crazy move there from Macedonian. Had the overspeed and definitely used it, but probably should have anticipated the slower car of the Rock coming through. Hopefully it hasn't caused damage to anyone. That was a crazy move. In fact, it has caused damage to Macedonian there, so perhaps a bit of what he deserved almost with a bit of a crazy move into the chicane. But that's going to compromise him a fair bit. He's going to have a big gap for him behind him now. Speaking of gaps, the gap between the front guys and the mid guys have closed a bit as Edmund has retired from pits as expected after spinning and getting damage a long way back already. So Edmund's race is now done. He's put himself out of his misery. 2 races to go. See if he can maintain the fight for a top 5 in championship in the final couple of races. But it won't be any points here in Japan for Edmund. So he becomes the 3rd retirement in this race after Kickbutt Kiwi with contact with Banana and then Ned beating it at turn 2. So Scotty's on the back of Blocky here. He might try and make a move into the chicane. Blocky's going to have to go outside. Scotty goes inside. Aggressive move in the brakes. They sort of leave each other space, but not really. But Scotty squeezes through, and Bags Little's going to follow through as well. Blocky's going to lose 2 places here on the whole hard tyres, and Esnu is close as well. I think Blocky's going to lose out. Doesn't have DRS, so there's a bit of pace gold already. As the Rock has binned it at the last corner, he's now out of the race. So 4 retirements now, and they're dropping like flies. So Artie Cheng's and Honest Crook have swapped positions, and we have a VSC. Artie Cheng's has gone back through on Honest Crook. I wonder if Honest Crook did it dirty and has redressed it. I'm not sure why. I'm pretty sure Honest Crook did redress that for whatever reason, but the Rock is now out of the race as well. We have 13 runners left, and a virtual safety car at lap 15, so time for guys to catch their breaths before they get right into it again. But the important thing for the race to win, at least, is F1 Hawk and Scotty are now clear of the hard runners. They can now go and try and get into the gap. F1 Hawk's going to have to get a 3-second gap though over the field to maintain his win, as he does have that 3-second penalty. Artie Cheng's has a drive through for speeding, so that's going to drop him out of the top 7. It's going to put Banana back on the points. A couple of guys are penalties, not many though, so penalties look like they're going to be worth a lot in this race, as Cookie is going to go for another move and Cheng's around the outside of Spoon, not really very likely move there, and that's going to cost him to Macedonian on the medium tyres, with damage, remember, as well, if Macedonian. Depp's going to slot in as well. Macedonian, can he get the run on Cheng? Looks like not quite, but Cookie's still sitting behind, Deputy right behind, and Banana's there but not quite there, as Cook's gone late in the brakes and he's running to Macedonian. Everyone sort of nose to tail at each other, but it looks like they've gotten away with it just. Banana is now right there because of that. They're all checking up there. Macedonian's not quite going to be close enough, but I think Depp might be close enough to make a move. Honest Crook defends the inside, and Depp's going to run out of straight. Banana swoops in behind, but can't capitalise either. So this is a tasty little battle pack happening here. Behind Artie Cheng's, Macedonian on mediums with damage, sort of balance each other out, I guess. Then he's going to struggle for front end through here. Speaking of front end, Honest Crook has no front end through there. Understeering like crazy. Now Didog understeering on the exit, so it shows how tricky it is to follow cars through here around Japan. Excuse me. So try and sort each other out. They've all got different accelerating and braking points. They're all clashing a little bit. Macedonian's going to be around the outside of Artie Cheng's, and he's not quite going to get it done. Artie's just going to have to pit though for his drive through in the next lap or two, so it's going to throw him well out of this battle. Up and down, may as well fight it while there's a chance. Step all the way over Honest Crook here. Honest Crook's going left, right, wherever. Banana's ready to pick up the pieces of any sort of mishap that may fall these guys. But they're going to hang on as they are for now. Rudy's not too far back either, after some trouble in his own race. These guys are going absolutely crazy. Macedonian's going to finally get through an Artie Cheng's, who's probably going to pick this lap. Honest Crook's wide again, so I wonder if Honest Crook's got some damage. It's compromising him because he's run wide a couple of times now. Artie cuts that and gets a penalty, and still 7 inch drive through. As estimated, he gets by Blocky ahead for DRS, so that's for P4. Blocky having not pit yet, he's going to be looking at his tyres and thinking, I need to get them off soon. So he'll probably pit in the next couple of laps. Cookie, Depp and Banana get pie still as they were. DRS train difficult to really make any moves, as Artie Cheng's is really struggling here. Cookie's getting held up behind. So Artie Cheng's, he's the other guy who hasn't pit yet. So that's why he has got very little pace relative to these other guys. So we expect to see him in the next couple of laps, I think. But he is holding these guys up a tiny bit, which he's entitled to do. But I'm sure he's not going to be particularly liked by these three. We're trying to make up some positions in this race. Macedonian is now a bit clear. He's 1.1 seconds ahead with damage, so it kind of shows Artie Cheng's is really struggling on these hard tyres. I think the drop of Blocky as well off the top pack. I know those four are really quick, but Blocky dropped off 2 seconds pretty quickly there, so those hards are definitely not in the best condition. 16 lap old for a pair of them, so they'll probably be coming for either mediums now, or softs maybe in a lap or two. Probably waiting for softs at this point though, otherwise they would have hit, I think, as Blocky picked up the penalty, which isn't going to help his cause. He's dropped even more time, so Blocky really struggling. It's Depp and Crook as soon as we move off it. Oh, there's a bit of crash. Crook and Artie Cheng's are in the wall, and they both got major damage, and Crook's going to cut the track and get back to the pits because he's a long way off. But Artie Cheng's also has big damage, and Deputy Dudog's been involved in that as well. So we've had a 3-car crash as soon as we flicked off it. That's put them all well down the order. Dudog's retired in the pits. Banana's picked up penalty, naughty. Crookie's getting a front wing change, as will Artie, I think. But big things happening there, geez. As soon as we move off that battle, fireworks happen. So they've had some sort of big coming together. I know they were very close together. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happened. That's a bit of a mystery. Anyway. I guess we have to move on. We'll have to look at the front again because Scotty is relatively staying with F1 Hawk. He can't drop bags a little, which is going to be quite important for the end of the race because I think the hard tyres will start to overtake the medium tyres on some pace, probably the last 5-6 laps. So I think the fact that Bags and Nui have managed to stay with Scotty is really important for the outcome of the race, and having the tyre grip at the end to fight for position. Blocky's in the pits, he's put softs on, so he's going to jet it to the end now, probably a good choice. Ari Chang's I think should come in now as well, off his tyres. He's a long way back though. So he didn't pit after that incident there. Oh no, he did pit, he had that drive through, that's right. So he's going to have to pit again, that's going to put him last, so that's a shame for Artie. Yeah, because he did come to the pits last lap. Crookie's put mediums on, so he doesn't think the softs get to the end, or maybe doesn't have a fresh... Oh no, he would have a fresh set to reset the lobbies, so not sure what the play is there. But yeah, weird things happening. Yeah, F1 Hawk, 2-second lead at the moment. It's not enough to maintain this win once we get to the end of the race in terms of that penalty. But he's doing enough to make Scotty have to work for it. But Scotty's going to have to look backwards, I think, soon, as these hard guys start to come back towards him. Top 4 have jetted again. Will's 6.5 seconds back, or 7 seconds back. Mastoon's another 4 seconds back, still carrying that damage after that that bit of kerfuffle after 130R. After Banana the Rock had a bit of coming together. Banana P7 at the moment, solid points. Kaviti 8th, Reaper 9th, and Blocky 10th, but he's been charging through. Safety car at this point is really going to help Blocky, I think, as he's got those fresh tyres. He won't have to pit, whereas everyone else probably will. So, see what plays out in terms of that. Closest battle on track at the moment is Kaviti and Banana, other than the battle for P2, which is actually getting quite close now. I might have to flick to that, because I didn't think Scotty was quite going to come under threat, but he's actually very, very close, is the Red Bull behind him. So this might happen even earlier than I thought. I thought for kind of 4, 5, 6 laps, but we've got 8 laps to go now, and it looks like those hard tyres are looking really nice at the moment. Driving fairly consistently, and we know Bags has some good pace after a really strong result. So yeah, this is going to be difficult for Scotty, I think, now. To defend from these guys. He's not dropping time to F1 Hawk, so that kind of tells me that it's the tyre compound rather than Scotty. So this end race is going to get quite spicy. Ari Cheng has finally come to the pits for soft tyres. He's going to drop back down to 12th, which is points. Remember, in this tier, top 15 get points. Slightly different point system to the actual F1, so it does pay to finish races, particularly when we have a fair few DNFs like this one here. So Depp has retired in the pits. I wonder if he's kicking himself a bit after that incident involving Crookie and Artie. But anyway, looks like Kaviti's right at the back here at Banana Cake Pie. No, our gap is lying to us. No, it's not. He is on the back of Banana, but he's not going to be close enough. No DRS through 130R for safety reasons, clearly. But he might have a run through here. The Banana's got a pretty nice exit, so I think Banana will be safe for now. Kaviti's not going to be close, so he's actually getting close. He's getting very, very close. He's going to go for it. Not quite. He's sort of half going for it, but you can't really afford to half go for it because you're never actually going to get it, I don't think. You either go for it or you don't go for it, and I think, yeah, if he's a couple of attempts close to that, he's definitely going for it. So Kaviti looking middle race at the moment. Banana Cake Pie struggling with his Google setup. Google might know lots, but it may not know F1 setup lots of things. He is struggling. Bell at the front, Bags still in the back of Scotty, although Scotty not quite coming under direct pressure yet to defend. So to see how that goes, we'll check penalties quickly. So 6 guys, all with 3 seconds, so we'll keep that in mind. So very low penalty count this race, so that makes them even more critical because guys aren't picking them up regularly like we've seen recently. So F1 Hawk's still got a gap another second to hang on to his race win from Scotty. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to with these guys' current pace, but if Bags Little keeps on pushing close up to Scotty, as we say that S is pushing right there as well, then that might force them both to slow down. But I think S is going to get the run here. Bags Little gets a relatively poor exit out of the chicane, but with DRS he should be able to defend. He does. So Bags Little stays P3, S stays P4, and those guys are just absolutely pulling away from Will behind, who's still in his own man's land a little bit. 3.8 seconds behind Macedonian. Is Macedonian, so Will is safe for P5 at the moment, counting penalties as well. The other battle, Gavuti still in the back of Banana but not close enough to make a move. Blocky is coming on softs, but he might run out of laps to really make an impact on this battle. He might catch Reaper, although Reaper's chugging along quite nicely as well, catching these guys, so I'm not sure if Blocky's quite going to get the reward of those soft tyres. He's not making massive inroads, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there, as Bags Little goes a very narrow exit out of the hairpin there, and that's got to put Ersnui all over the back of him. I'm not sure if he's quite going to be close enough for a move. Bags Little defends, so he's feeling the pressure here. Not the best place to defend because this is a corner spoon where you really need to carry speed through the entry, mid and exit of it. But he's done a well enough job to hang on to that. Probably be a bit more compromised on the exit. Gap at front is 2.2 now, so F1 Hawk has managed to find a couple of tenths on Scotty, which could be pretty important come the end of the race. Esnui a lot later in the breaks through there, which you saw last lap as well, so I reckon if Esnui is going to line up and move, it might be into the last chicane there. But Bags Little very strong in the exit again, so perhaps a case of slowing fast out for Bags Little, but he's going to hang on to P3 once again. As across the line to start lap 23, so we have 5 laps left, not much more time to make things happen. Grim Reaper's right in the back of this train as well now, with Gavuti and Banana Cape Pie, but not going to be close enough to threaten for another lap or two, I don't think. But he is coming. Blocky behind has close enough to seconds, but is not quite going to be close enough to really threaten, I don't think. Blocky might be stuck with P10. Reaper's in a really nice position here, given he doesn't have penalties as well. That's another factor to consider. So Reaper in place for P7, if he can keep it clean for the last 5 and a bit laps, or 4 and a bit laps. So solid points for Mercedes. We've seen him get more, but far from disastrous. So Reaper's chugging along nicely, he just needs to keep it clean and the positions are his, doesn't have to force it. I think these two are the only two real battles on track, so we'll try and toggle between them as much as we can. Battle for P2 and battle for P7. Battle for P2. Scotty is starting to really drop off now. Gap is 2.8 seconds, so F1 Hawk is nearly clear to hang on to the win. He needs 3 seconds and it's just about there. But the important question is, if Bags Little does clear Scotty, can he keep the gap to Bags Little? Because it does look like the hards are just as good, if not better, than the mediums at this point. 14 laps old now, the mediums and hards of these guys all haven't hit through the same lap. So I mean, if Bags to get by Scotty, this could be essentially for P1, given Scotty's lack of pace relative to F1 Hawk. He's doing a very good job, mind you. I keep kind of saying Scotty's dropping off, but he's doing a very, very solid job in old mediums to hang on to these guys behind. Plus keep a relatively consistent gap to F1 Hawk, who is our championship leader as of this point. He's keeping the championship alive, is Scotty. Currently sitting 33 points behind. He's going to need a lot to go his way to keep any sort of chance of winning the championship, but he is keeping it alive, which is the important thing. But Bags Little here is as close as he's ever been. So this is going to be really, really close here for Scotty. He has actually managed to claw back a tenth or two to F1 Hawk. So Scotty is putting the foot down, but Bags Little is not letting him get away one bit. He's not letting him relax at all. Through Spoon here. If you can get a good exit out of him, you know Bags Little was good out of the final corner. So if he can keep close enough here, he might be able to have a ping in the turn 1. He's close. I don't know if he's closer than last time. He doesn't have much battery to play with either, so he's going to have to be very close to make a move. Late in the brakes here, no Esnui is even later. But Bags Little, the run out of here is important. Plenty of inside curb, getting on the power. He's done a decent job, but once again, Scotty does a decent job as well. I think Scotty's going to be under pressure here though, because Bag's little DRS using all 5% of that ERS. He's going to be close enough, not quite, and Scotty just hangs on again. So Scotty in P2, 3 laps to go. Only 3 laps more for Scotty to hang on. He has managed to close in another couple of tenths to F1 Hawk, who's possibly just feeling the pressure a little bit. He's 2.5 seconds in the lead, but I wonder if he knows how hard these guys are getting at each other. Have a quick look at the battle down here as well. I don't really want to leave this battle, but Grim Reaper has managed to clear Gavudi on track. So Reaper now into P8, but I think we'll stay with this pack here because this is for a podium, if not a win. Gap in front, 2.6 seconds now, so that gap is coming down. These two are pushing each other towards F1 Hawk, and Esnu is still right there, but not quite close enough to threaten. I'm not sure if Esnu is going to be able to threaten for a podium here. Doesn't quite have the pace now, but Bags Little definitely does. Less than 2 tenths now through Spoon. The exit out of here is the important one. Scotty is fast enough where it counts out of the exits of Spoon and out of the exit of the chicane onto the front straight. But I think Bags Little, this is his chance. He's using all of his battery now, not saving it for the straight. He might go for it in the chicane, but I don't think he's going to have enough time still. He's not going to have enough road to throw it down the inside, and he's not. Scotty hangs on again. So Scotty doing a really nice job in defence. Esnu is not quite there again. And Scotty, again, with a nice exit out of the final corner, is probably just going to save him. And yeah, I don't think Bags Little is going to be close enough again. He's not, so Scotty hangs on. 2 more laps to go. Scotty feeling the heat behind. Leaderboard glitch is not allowing us to see the gap to F1 Hawk, unfortunately, so hopefully that pops up soon, because that's going to be quite important for sorting these guys out. Usually at a sector point or another checkpoint it does reset itself, so hopefully it does at this sector split. The back looks like Reaper's right in the back of Banana Cake Pie, but I don't want to leave this paddle here as Bags Little is pushing Scotty through the second sector now. You can see F1 Hawk ahead, trying to count. I think that gap's about 2.5 seconds still. Just trying to use a reference point from F1 Hawk and Scotty, so Scotty's still doing enough to get the win as it stands, but if Bags Little goes for a move, it might cost them both the chance to the win. I'm not sure if Bags Little is quite going to be able to clear F1 Hawk either. What if we can get the interval to leader up? No, that's all broken as well. Gotta love leaderboards on Cody's games. That's going to cost us. Scotty gets loose, and Esnui picks up the penalty. That's going to cost Esnui any chance he's got of a podium. And he's in AI mode as well, so that's really hurts Esnui there. That's going to cost him. Bags Little not close enough on the brakes, didn't really think about going for it there. He knows that a win is possible if he gets the move done cleanly. Yeah, Scotty a bit wide on the exit there, and I think this is going to be his best chance. He's got right on the back of Scotty. Bags Little potentially for the win of the race. He's going to go around the outside. He's going to make it hard. It is Scotty. Defends the inside. Getting a shocking camera angle there on the inside. He's going to swoop down the outside. He's off the track. Scotty's going to just hang on, but he goes deep. And Scotty is going to get the run just. And Bags Little is slotting behind, but what that has done, it has given F1 Hawk the 3-second buffer he needs. Gap now 3.3 seconds. That little exchange, that's all it took to lose half a second at F1 Hawk. And that's going to cost them. As ID Changes appeared out of nowhere as well. He is a lap down, so don't mind him at the moment, but that is going to cost these guys the win perhaps. That little exchange. Oh, and Bags Little's round, and he's in the wall, and it's damage. And that's going to cost him P2. Oh, it's going to cost him a chance at a podium. It's going to drop him down, and with damage, that's going to... No, I'm not sure if it's going to come under pressure from Will. The gap is too big, but that's going to cost him any chance of a podium now. Esnui now back in contention for a podium. So now the only question is Scotty, whether he can get within 3 seconds of F1 Hawk. Gap is 3.3. F1 Hawk's putting a good lap so far. I'm not sure if Scotty's going to have enough laps or road to get that back down. Oh, but that's massively disappointing for Bags Little. He did so well to keep on the pressure of Scotty, but Scotty held his head high. He kept on pushing, and he made his car as wide as he possibly could. He was quick in the important bits, but F1 Hawk is going to cross the line and win the Japanese Grand Prix. Can Scotty get him? I don't think he is. He's not. F1 Hawk hangs on to the lead, and Esnui takes P3. Bags Little, he's going to hang on to P4, which is probably lucky considering the size of that impact there. But he will take a very good P4, but it's what could have been. Will's going to take P5. Very, very solid result for Will. Macedonian P6. Might have a bit of a question to be asked of him after the race. Reaper in 7th, a very solid result. Ahead of Banana Cake Pie with a penalty. Blocky I think finished just behind Kavudi, but I'm going to have to check that for the last couple of points. But what a cracking race up the front. Really super battle between particularly Scotty and Bax, little Esnui right there as well. But unfortunately for them, they couldn't quite maintain that gap to F1 Hawk, who did enough. He put in the laps where it counted, consistency being key, and F1 Hawk is going to take maximum points and extend his championship lead. It's going to be very hard for anyone to catch now. 2 races left. He's going to need to pretty much DNF them both, I think, to not take it. He needs to just keep doing what he's doing. He doesn't need to do anything special. He just needs to keep on driving consistent, keep on driving solid. He's got it in the bag. So well done to F1 Hawk for taking yet another victory. 7th one of the season with 2 races to go. He's looking pretty much unstoppable. Scotty takes P2. Very solid drive again. Less than a second off the lead and managing to absorb all the pressure of Bags Little, the Red Bull, for the last 10 or so laps. Esnui takes the podium. Very solid for him. Bags Little so close to a podium, but he can be very proud of his drive, I think, as well. Will takes P5. Very solid drive from P14. Macedonian 6th. After starting 6th, pretty much an up and down race for Macedonian, but he gets points. Reaper P7, solid result. Banana, solid result in P8. Blocky from the back row takes P9, so good result for him. And Kavudi will take the final top 10 spot. ID Chanks and Crook will also take points after their own adventures. An incident involving Deputy Dudog unfortunately cost them potential points as well. Speaking of, Dudog retires. The Rock retires. Edmund, Kick Button, and Ned all retired from the race. What a cracking race that was. Really enjoyable. Quite difficult sometimes get good races out of Japan, but I mean, with this tier, there's always a bit of excitement in the air. So yeah, really exciting stuff. Tier 2 never failing to disappoint. So with 2 races to go, F1 Hawk are going to have a nice lead in the championship now. I'm not going to know the exact numbers yet, and everything will be provisional in case drivers do want to report incidents, but I'll make sure to get them up for next week. But I know for a fact it's going to be very hard to stop the McLaren F1 Hawk from taking the Drivers' Championship. So F1 Hawk, he's giving himself a very nice Tier 1 position this season, winning 7 out of the 13 races so far. So yeah, all good things. But yeah, it's been another cracking race. We've got 2 to go. As I've mentioned a couple of times, you have Monaco next week, which is going to be a real interesting one. Often quite difficult to really get yourself around cleanly. We know how important qualifying is going to be there, so a real kind of up and down circuit for a lot of guys. Some people love it, a lot of people hate it. Personally, it's not one of my favourites, but it's always a spicy one to watch. So that's going to be fun. And then finishing off at Brazil, which is a nice little racetrack, a couple of nice overtaking zones, turn 1 and turn 4 at Brazil. Always see a couple of interesting side-by-sides. And second sector and third sector, quite technical. So it's going to be a fun couple of rounds to finish out this championship. As mentioned earlier, I'm not quite sure what the plans are for next season yet, but we can't look too far ahead. There's plenty more to see this season. Not just for Tier 2, Tier 1 as well. I'm not quite sure how that championship's heating up, but plenty of quality drivers in there. So yeah, make sure to check out that, as well as Tier 4 action happening now as well. Tier 3 happening on a Tuesday night, as well as the Euros and America Series happening a bit later in the day. Slash tomorrow, depending on where you are in the world. Sunday stuff as well, the Race Spec tiers. They've got a couple more rounds to go. They'll be at Japan this Sunday as well. Plus the GT Sports stuff happening on a Saturday as well. So plenty of things happening in the Race Spec circles. So make sure you go check out all of that good stuff. But thank you again for tuning in tonight. Been a really fun race. Extend that to a really fun season. And looking forward to seeing what these guys can do on the streets of Monaco next week. So until then, I will see you later. Enjoy the rest of your weeks. And we'll see how these guys get along in Monaco for round 14. I'll catch you guys later.